we have to stop with your view obsession. No, you're making them famous enough. You talk about The View so much that I miss the Canadian guy with the big boobs. Never thought I would say that. No, I never thought I would say that.
Where is he?
But
where is he?
You gotta let go of The View, Greg. It's not healthy for you. She's full of the cops are just in a group sitting around drinking coffee. Hey, police, this is my kid. You see him running around, you leave him alone, or you gotta deal with me.
This probably shouldn't be legal, but it's downright hilarious. Tyrus stepped onto the View set and dropped a truth bomb so massive it could have triggered the fire alarm, the sprinklers, and maybe a few emergency therapy sessions. In seconds, everything you thought you knew about daytime TV flew straight out the window, leaving the host scrambling like cats tossed into a bathtub. Stick around, because what comes next is wild, unfiltered, and so painfully messy it'll make you question reality itself.
So, it's not even that. And The View, you don't need to find Trumpers. You need to fire your race baiters.
Yeah.
You need to fire the two races. You've had people. You had a McCain on there. You've had people on there before, and you ran them off. Mm-hmm. So the racist ones who want to stick to this, Whoopi and Sonny, and was it Bette Midler? What's her name? Yeah, broke-ass Bette Midler. Fire them and bring people in. Maybe you could get McCain.
Before we go any further, smash that like button and hit subscribe, because you already know you don't want to miss this one. It's funny how a brightly lit table can suddenly turn into a pressure cooker. Everyone smiling, everyone nodding, and everyone pretending the coffee is strong enough to carry them through yet another round of polite agreement.
Build a synagogue. I mean, why do we not know those things?
It's something that I've never... I love doing it. I don't need praise for it. I don't... we all like a certain level of praise, but I've never... I just like helping people. I help a lot of people, and I enjoy doing it, and I never talk about it. It's nice that you bring it up. I also think it's not a narrative that the press likes talking about, for me.
But I think it would help a lot of the American people who have been misled, I myself included. Now listen.
The audience sees laughter, applause, and perfectly timed reactions. What they don't see is the invisible rule book hovering over that table, the one that says certain thoughts have to stay sealed away, like expired leftovers no one wants to deal with.
But it's only in America can a black person sit on a TV show getting paid millions and millions of dollars to have the floor and can say, it can interrupt people, because she interrupted her.
Yeah.
And if according to her, life was like in Iran it was for black people, her interrupting and speaking in public would have led to a stoning.
Yeah.
Like the ignorance, you live in a country where you might...
Because harmony is the product, and disruption is bad for business, or at least that's how it usually works. Then a moment arrives that doesn't ask for permission. A moment that doesn't care about seating charts, commercial breaks, or the unspoken agreement to keep everything safe.
She was a Republican, but every show and every break, she was nearly in tears because she was being attacked. So the problem is that you have to go after the racist people. And if be the CEO goes, you know what, I'm not going to allow a woman on my show or man that will go after white America and talk about them like dogs. That doesn't represent our ideals or values for anyone. And get rid of those people, and this will clear up real quick. So do you have to actually look in the mirror and clean up your own backyard and get the racist people out? Because
Suddenly, the air shifts, not with shouting, not with theatrics, but with the heavy, uneasy drop of something real landing right in the middle of the conversation. Like a bowling ball crashing onto a glass coffee table. What makes it funny isn't just the reaction, it's the awkward dance that follows. Eyes darting, smiles freezing mid-performance. That split second when everyone silently asks the same question, are we even allowed to talk about this? When someone like Tyrus stops tiptoeing, the entire room has to recalibrate. This isn't your standard polite disagreement wrapped in a bow. It's a statement that forces the set to briefly remember, yes, we exist in the real world. The brilliance is in how calmly it lands. No dramatic build-up, no grand speech, just a blunt truth delivered with the effortless confidence of someone who doesn't bother softening the edges. It's the verbal equivalent of flipping on the lights at a party and exposing the mess everyone was dancing around. And that's where the comedy hits hardest, because the table isn't built for honesty. It built for consensus, safe outrage, and debates that never leave the shallow end.
Oh, it's Sonny. Yes, ma'am. And then the one cop was like, nah. And they're like, put it away. Put the baton away, Johnson. You got away this time, kid, because if you weren't Sonny Halston's son, I'd you up. Like, this is what people do. They lie. They say the stupidest. This is like people who name drop someone like, yo, I was in the room with Enrico Palazzi and I taught him how to sing, and they just say She say cops. Just a group of cops, just a little herd of policemen just walk around a white neighborhood.
When someone drops a truth bomb in that kind of setting, it doesn't explode, it implodes. The reactions are quiet, but they land hard in their own way. The sudden chatter and nervous laughter sound completely rehearsed, like they were pulled straight from a menu. Then comes the quick pivot to a totally different topic, as if switching gears fast enough might erase what was just said. Tyrus doesn't need to raise his voice. He doesn't need to pound the table. The impact comes from sounding like someone who already thought it through while everyone else is still flipping through their cue cards. It isn't anger. It isn't bitterness. It's the one thing television fears most: clarity. Clarity exposes the cracks. It reveals how certain conversations are carefully staged to feel bold while staying comfortably safe. Everyone knows their role. Everyone knows the lines they're not supposed to cross until someone crosses them anyway, and keeps walking like nothing happened. What comes next is a masterclass in controlled chaos. You can almost feel the producers tightening their grip on their headsets. This wasn't in the plan. It wasn't rehearsed. There's no graphic ready for it. And yet there it is, sitting right in the middle of the discussion, refusing to be ignored. The irony is absolutely delicious.
Here's the one thing about America that makes it different than anyone else. You have an opportunity, even as dumb as the she's just said, that she has an opportunity tomorrow. They won't fire her over that.
No.
She'll have an opportunity tomorrow to come on and fix it. Will she? She won't. But that's the thing about this country. Black, white, gay, straight, short, tall. Everyone's going to get hit with something, but the beauty about this country is there's always an opportunity for you to better yourself. So shame on you, Whoopi.
A show built on opinions suddenly acts like it's allergic to one that doesn't match the approved flavor. The panel loves strong takes as long as those takes come pre-approved and neatly seasoned. But when someone drops a raw, unfiltered observation, it's treated like a health code violation. Tyrus doesn't flinch, and that's what rattles everyone. He doesn't backpedal. He doesn't apologize. He doesn't rush to explain himself into something easier to swallow. He lets the silence do the heavy lifting. And in that room, silence is louder than applause. You can almost hear the mental calculations spinning around him. How do we respond without validating this? How do we push back without looking weak? How do we move on without admitting it landed a little too close to home? The humor lives in the contrast. On one side, a statement built on plain logic. On the other, a room full of people trained to dance around logic without ever touching it. It's like bringing a wrench into a room full of decorative pillows. And the audience feels it too. There's that shared pause on the other side of the screen the moment viewers lean in, not because they agree or disagree, but because something unscripted just happened, something real in a format that usually feels about as spontaneous as a weather forecast.
He is feeling guilty about being a successful black lady who lives with white people, so she has to play.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Successful slave-owning black woman. Get it right.
Yeah,
Gato.
slave owned. Her ancestors owned
Yes.
slaves. So she has to play up this like I am a target of oppression, so she can remain on a credentialed level with other blacks.
No, stop it, Greg. She was lying through her teeth.
What makes it even funnier is how predictable the aftermath always is. The deflection, the reframing, the sudden fixation on tone, timing, and context. Because when a truth bomb drops, it's rarely the substance that gets attacked first at the delivery. The focus shifts from what was said to how it was said, as if changing the wrapping could make the gift disappear. Meanwhile, Tyrus looks like he already moved on. He isn't there to score points or chase applause. He's there to say it and let it sit. That kind of calm confidence is unsettling in a space built on constant validation. Eventually, the table finds its rhythm again. It always does. Jokes return. Smiles thaw. The conversation drifts back into familiar waters, but something has shifted. You can sense it in the slightly forced cheerfulness and the angles suddenly avoided. The truth bomb may not have blown the show apart, but it left a dent, and that dent is the whole point. Moments like this expose just how fragile the illusion really is. The illusion that every opinion is welcome, that debate is fearless, that nothing is off limits. One calm, well-placed observation is enough to remind everyone how real those limits actually are. The brilliance of Tyrus' moment isn't the shock at the exposure. It shows how quickly the room tightens when the conversation slips off script and how fast the energy changes when someone refuses to play the expected role. And that's why moments like this go viral, not outrage, but recognition.
Tyrus, the weird thing about The View was that Dylan Mulvaney was the most feminine person there.
He was. Somebody didn't read the script before they went out on the show. Mm-hmm. Oh, she was so bad that she made The View quiet.
Yeah.
The camera was panning for someone to say something.
Yeah.
And I think old Dylan jumped in and was like, yeah.
People recognize that tension because they live it every day in meetings, group chats, and even family dinners. That feeling when something obvious is sitting right there, but saying it out loud would make everyone uncomfortable. Watching someone actually say it feels rebellious, even when it delivered calmly, without fireworks. The irony is that the show markets itself as bold, fearless, and unfiltered. Yet the moments people remember most are the ones where someone forgets to filter at all. That when the cracks show. That's when smiles tighten just a little. That when laughter sounds slightly rehearsed. Tyrus doesn't need to dominate the conversation. His presence alone disrupts the usual rhythm. He's not there to echo the room, he's there to challenge it, intentionally or not. And that's what makes his truth bomb so effective. It isn't an attack. It's an observation. Observations are dangerous because they don't argue. They simply exist, forcing everyone else to react. As the segment moves on, there's a sense of unfinished business hanging in the air, the kind that doesn't get wrapped up in a single episode and instead spills into comment sections and clip compilations. The kind that reminds viewers why they tuned in to begin with. Beneath the polished set and perfectly timed banter, people are craving one thing: authenticity.
Tyrus, I'm a little depressed because I was looking forward to a trans James Bond, and it's not going to happen.
Well, Greg, there was a long line that you were in, and I'm sorry for you and the thousands of constituents.
It is about money, though, right? They're losing money.
No, they were forced, they were blackmailed into hiring these DEI.
They want moments that feel unscripted, even messy. Especially messy. The funniest part is how hard everyone works to pretend nothing happened. The show goes on. Smiles return. The rhythm resets, but the audience knows. Once the curtain slips, you can't unsee it. Tyrus steps away quietly. No victory lap, no dramatic exit, just the calm satisfaction of someone who said exactly what they meant without dressing it up. And that's why the truth bomb lands so hard. Not because it's loud, not because it's shocking, but because it's simple. Simplicity is something a room full of carefully constructed narratives can't easily handle. In the end, the table survives. The show goes on. The format stays intact, but the memory lingers. Beneath the polish, the talking points, and the rehearsed outrage, one honest moment can still steal the spotlight. That the real punchline, not the reactions, not the awkward pauses, but the fact that in a space built to control the conversation, the most powerful move is just saying something real and letting the chips fall where they may. And the chips do fall, just not in neat little stacks. They scatter. They roll under the table.
Yeah. You say cops. Just a group of cops. Just a little herd of policemen just walk around a white neighborhood looking for people like me.
Yeah. What is her name? I mean, come on, Kat. Her neighborhood is like, you know where she lives.
Okay, but also, look, I'm not a little black boy, all right?
What?
But so can't speak for that. But speaking for myself, if I were out and I had a friend drag me up to the cops and be like, just so you know, if you see her out, she's not doing anything illegal.
They make everyone suddenly remember that this isn't just a set at a conversation pretending to be one. The kind where certain truths are treated like smoke alarms. Everyone agrees they matter, but nobody wants them going off at dinner. What makes the aftermath so entertaining is the collective amnesia that hits almost instantly. Faces reset. The rhythm returns. Opinions are carefully repackaged in softer language, like sharp objects padded for shipping. The goal shifts from resolution to survival. Keep the vibe friendly. Keep the audience comfortable. Keep the illusion intact. But the illusion already took a hit. You can't rewind authenticity once it slips out. It just sits there, quietly judging the rest of the segment. Every joke that follows feels a little louder than necessary. Every laugh sounds like it trying to convince someone, maybe even the person laughing, that everything is fine. This is where Tyrus's presence becomes almost comical in its stillness. He doesn't scramble to clarify. He doesn't chase approval. He doesn't join the frantic effort to smooth things over. He just sits there, like someone who dropped a fact on the table and is now watching everyone else argue with the furniture.
They needed to do because they had, a million fake bots on X telling them that they were relevant, and they made these movies that nobody would watch. So it's really going to have to stop hiring people based off of their sexual orientation and how they look in the mirror, opposed to, can you actually direct a movie that makes sense?
There's something deeply unsettling about that kind of calm. Television lives on reaction, escalation, and emotional fireworks. When someone refuses to play along, it throws the entire machine off balance. It's like bringing a chessboard into a room where everyone else is playing checkers and insisting the rules are the same. The panel scrambles to regain control. The conversation drifts back to safer ground. Familiar talking points return like comfort food. But beneath it all, there a faint echo, a sense that something important just passed by, and everyone agreed not to stare directly at it. Viewers notice. They always do. Not because they're experts, but because they're human. They feel the tension the same way you do when a room falls silent after someone says exactly what everyone else was thinking but too polite to voice. That silence has a sound. It hums. The funniest part is how quickly the moment gets reframed. Suddenly, it's no longer about what was said. It's about vibes, energy, and whether the comment was helpful, productive, or in line with the spirit of the discussion. As if truth somehow needs a permission slip.
I just would like to pull Dylan out and throw him out, and then, metaphorically, and put Rachel Dolezal in there.
Yes!
Let's put her in there, and then let's say she does jobs as a black woman better than black women. And it's her right to pursue that. And just because we don't know how her feelings are, Whoopi doesn't give us the right to tell her she's not black.
Mm-hmm.
Just marinate on that for a minute. Moron.
It's so true. Why can't we identify as a different race?
This is where the irony comes full circle. A show built on opinion suddenly becomes obsessed with the consequences of holding one that doesn't fit the mold. The conversation shifts from what real to what acceptable, and those two rarely line up. Tyrus doesn't chase the conversation as it scrambles. He lets it move. That another quiet flex. There's no need to hammer the point when the reactions already prove it landed. As sometimes the strongest follow-up is no follow-up at all. What lingers is the discomfort of recognition, the realization that the boundaries of the discussion are far narrower than advertised, and certain truths are only welcome if they arrive disguised as questions, jokes, or hypotheticals. Anything too direct is treated like a spill that must be wiped up immediately. And yet, those are the moments people replay, clip, share, and argue over, not the polished segments where everyone agrees to disagree in the safest way possible. It's the awkward, unscripted moments, the ones where the mask slips just enough to reveal the machinery underneath that stick. There's a strange honesty in watching a system protect itself, the rapid pivots, the sudden emphasis on unity, the gentle scold disguised as concern. It all smooth, practiced, and revealing. In that moment, Tyrus becomes a mirror, whether he intends to or not reflecting outrage, but reflecting structure, showing how the conversation is shaped, guided, and carefully fenced in.
This is the greatest country on earth, and this is the only country where you can talk this kind of and get away with it. She has a right to, unfortunately, whether you like it or don't like it, she has a right to say it. But you also, as a voter in her district, one, if you want more snacks, and two, if you want someone who represents the country in your neighborhood who represents America that loves America, that's who you vote for. You don't vote for someone like that who clearly, you can say, I'm an African American, okay? But I'm an American. You know what I'm saying? You can say I'm an Irish American. But when you say I'm a Guatemalan first and American second, that's a completely different.
And mirrors make people uncomfortable because they don't argue back. They just show what's there. By the time the segment ends, the energy has technically recovered. On paper, everything looks fine, but the audience has already filed the moment away. They'll remember it not for being loud, but for being clean. A single observation cutting through layers of performance. That the real reason it sticks not because it destroys, but because it exposes how meticulously everything is constructed, how much effort goes into maintaining the appearance of openness while quietly enforcing its limits. In a way, the truth bomb doesn't blow anything up. It reveals the padding, the foam around the edges, the safety rails disguised as freedom. And once you see those, every future conversation looks different. The table will host more discussions. Smiles will return. Debates will continue to feel urgent, passionate, and endlessly recycled. But somewhere in the background, that moment lingers as a quiet reminder. Sometimes the most disruptive move isn't to shout, insult, or provoke it to calmly say something obvious and refuse to apologize for it. And that's why it lands. That's why it spreads. That's why people keep talking about it long after the show moves on. Because in a world full of noise, a quiet, well-placed truth can still make the loudest impact.